Episode 5 of Core 3 of Bleach, The 1,000-Year Blood War, is now out, and my god, this week had me grinning from ear to ear. We got to see the fallen god himself, Aizen Sosuke, in action, as well as a return of my favourite Espada, as well as the Ashvalen survivors teaming up with the Soul Reapers to take out Yuhavak, plus an Ichihime scene to cap off the episode. So let's dive into episode 31 of Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War against the Judgment. We start the episode within the Soul Society. Yuhavak has just absorbed the Soul King, and now, suddenly, the Soul Society has been invaded by these creatures. I'm not quite sure what these things are, but they remind me of piranhas quite a bit, in the way that they devour everything in their path as they munch on Soul Reaper flesh. We treated the scenes of the lieutenants of Squad 11 fighting the creatures, as well as Byakuya using Senbon Sakura, as more and more creatures come pouring through the Soul Shield membrane. It looks like the Shinigami aren't able to handle that many creatures before we get to see what true power looks like in the form of Aizen Sosuke, who starts in true Aizen fashion by taunting the Soul Reapers, in particular Rukia, whom he congratulates on her promotion to Lieutenant. Rukia understandably gets very pissed off at seeing Aizen after all the pain and suffering he has caused, not just to her but her friends too. She questions who would be dumb enough to release such a powerful monster back into the Soul Society, before getting an explanation himself from the head captain Shinsui. I like Shinsui's quote here, where he states he doesn't believe that using a force of evil to defeat another force of evil in itself is an evil act, which creates an interesting scenario where the Soul Reapers need to team up with someone who tried to wage war against them with his hollow army. Aizen then unleashes Halo 90 as a demonstration of just how powerful he has become since his defeat at the hands of Ichigo, and it looks very impressive, before offering to shoot down the Royal Palace out of the sky with his spiritual pressure. However, the chair that Aizen is strapped to is designed to restrain his spiritual pressure and keep it close to his body. Captain Mairi then emerges with Nemu, explaining that the chair is his design, the finest technology the Soul Society has to offer, and the chair's restraints were never designed to eliminate spiritual pressure, only to restrain it. And for Aizen to shoot down the Royal Palace whilst contained to Mairi's technology would be very humiliating for him. Aizen then invites Captain Mairi to see which is stronger, his spiritual pressure or Mairi's technology. I love it. Barely been let out Muken, and already Aizen is talking shit to the other captains. This exchange between Aizen and Mairi is interrupted by Stoneritter Yu, who temporarily disables Aizen. He's joined by Bazz B, as well as two members of the Bambis, liltotto Lamperd and Giselle Gewelle. All three of these Stoneritter managed to survive the Ashvalen when Yuhavak performed it at the end of Core 2. Bazz B forms an uneasy alliance with Shinsui and the rest of the Shinigami to come with them during the assault on the Royal Palace, as he wishes to kill Yuhavak in revenge for what he did to the other Quincy during Ashvalen. Shinsui then makes the call to arms for every surviving Soul Reaper in the Soul Society, as he must gather enough spiritual pressure to open the gate that leads to Yuhavak, Ichigo and the Royal Palace. Every member of the 13 Court Guard squads is needed for this goal, including those injured like Kenpachi, who chooses to search for his Lieutenant Yetri on his own, before being stopped by Shinsui's Lieutenant Nanao, who seems to be stepping into a more authoritative role here, as she manages to convince Kenpachi to stand down and let his men search for him instead, whilst he is needed elsewhere. Shinsui then gives his speech of morale, helping to energize his men and give them the big boost before the battle is to come. His speech also mentions the former Quincy, who have now changed sides and are helping the Shinigami defeat Yuhavak, explaining that they must put aside their differences and stand together for one last major battle that will determine the future and also the future of the world. It's also nice to see all the Vizards again, particularly Hiyori, who still has a banter with Shinji. This scene in the Soul Society ends with Aizen commenting on the irony of Ichigo entering the Soul King's past before him, which was his original goal. It must sting from Aizen's point of view, seeing your enemy reach your goal before you do. The episode then cuts to a scene Ichihime fans are sure to go nuts over, with Ichigo waking up to see Orihime sitting next to him. Orihime is of course exhausted after healing Yurichi as well as Ichigo without any breaks, and we even get some hero bits with Kon, who saved Ichigo when he fell from the Royal Palace by acting as a cushion. Now back to 100%. Squad Kurosaki is now racing against time to reach the top of the Royal Palace to stop Yuhavak before he collapses the worlds, but they need a plan to get there first. The episode ends with perhaps one of the best moments in all of Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War, with the return of Grimmjow, my favourite Espada next to Ulquiorra, appearing in the Bleach anime again after 15 years of waiting. We did get a teaser shot of him earlier in the episode, but it's nice to finally see him now in person, with a new style of animation as compared to the OG style. There's also a post-credit scene of Yu Havok having finished absorbing the Soul King, and he looks very menacing in this form post Soul King absorption. Episode 31, Against the Judgment, was again another incredible episode. Every episode so far has been a 10 out of 10, and this one was no exception. I'm very excited for next week's episode so I can see my boy Grimmjow back in action. Let me know what you think of the episode, and I'll see you again next week for episode 32, The Holy Newborn.